Hi everyone. This is Ali Belbashir from the International Office. I am an immigration consultant. Today I wanted to cover refusals like work permits, study permits, any type of refusal, like how to overcome it, and what is the approach that we suggest you can do when you're hit with that decision that is hurtful definitely to you, but at the same time you want to move on and find the resolution to it. Just to be clear, this is an information session. This is not a legal advice. This is not a private consultation. I don't really know what and why the refusal is. So this is provided to you, so just to clarify some general topics. Please request a meeting with us so we can see exactly what you submitted, understand the motivation of the refusal, why the officer decided to refuse you, and give you a clear advice how to proceed further. But overall, this is the recipe. This is the way to how to overcome a refusal. So basically, you have submitted an application and you have followed the instructions that are online, or maybe you just consulted us or whatever. You did an application on your own and you did it at the best of your knowledge, and you waited a couple of months, maybe you receive a refusal, your application has been refused for this reason. So there is a bunch of reasons, like there is a generic letter that you receive and the officer will say, I have studied, or I have examined your application and I came to the conclusion that you don't satisfy the condition A, B, C of the immigration and refugee laws of Canada or regulations. So because of this, so I'll just give a few examples. So usually the officer will say, I'm not convinced that you leave Canada at the end of your stay, considering your ties to your home country of residence, or considering the purpose of your the visit. So there is a bunch of reasons, but all of these reasons are like generic, replies. And usually the student or the client comes to us and they are like in a confusion state. They don't really understand. Like I submitted everything to the Immigration Canada. I think my application was clear enough. I have an admission. I have the money. I'm young. It's this, I'm doing a master, which is like a continuation of my my academic pathway. And I don't understand why the officer is at this, refusing my application at this level. So knowledge is the first weapon that you need to have in your hand, when you're against like a refusal like this. So to get knowledge, you need to first know exactly what you have done. You have to make sure that what you have done is exactly what they asked you for. So if an officer is asking you for, or the immigration department is asking you like for a series of documentation and you have provided them, but they still refuse you, you need to know, was your application complete or not? So the second thing, what you need to know is like why, the details of the why they refuse you, because the generic letter doesn't give you exactly, specifically to you, why the officer came to that conclusion. So to get that information, you need to do an application, access to information application, which is basically requesting your immigration file within the department. So every time you do a transaction, every time you do an application, a request with Immigration Canada, the first time you do a transaction with them, they create a profile for you. And every time you have a transaction, they add to it. So every time there is a decision, the officers will take a note. And the officer will also decide on, like they will just give a clear explanation why the decision was taken. Sorry, I have to plug my computer. Okay. The internal notes is very important to you to know. So to know them, you need to make a specific request, and there is a video that we will provide to you specifically how to do an ATIP request, access to information and privacy, application. You do it online, and then you receive it within 4 to 6 weeks. You have clearly the details and the reasoning why the officer refused your application. It will be, for example, client submitted example, a bank statement, and they are old, and they're like 5 months older, and we're really not sure if the funds are still there. But that explanation will not be in the refusal letter. That explanation will not be exchanged to you. Even if you write to the embassy, to the visa office, nobody's going to exchange with you. They are not in a position of having a conversation with you. All what you can have is the information through the access to information process. So that's one step. The other step I really want you to do is if you think that the application was refused on wrong motivation, like for example, you have a bank account that has that shows $50,000 in the bank, like it's cash in the bank, and and your cost of your studies, you're coming here for a master's that we will have a duration of 1 year. The cost of that study will be like roughly 25,000. So basically you have a lot of money and they're still refusing you because they say you don't have money or they're not convinced. So you're kind of like in a situation where what's going on, like why? In that case, and so I'm just giving a basic example here, but it could be like multiple reasons, why you think that your application was correct and the officer made an error. So they either saw what you submitted and they didn't appreciate it, or maybe they did not see it, or they saw it and they just, for other reasons that is not mentioned, decided to refuse you. So it's kind of a cocktail of things, of unknowns. And at the end of the day, you need to come to clarity with it before doing a new application. You definitely do not want to rush into reapplying for another study permit or another work permit without knowing the reason of the first refusal, because you will be hitting another refusal again, because they will just keep refusing you. You're wasting your money, you're wasting your time. And the right approach, if you have a refusal, is to get the information. If the officer is not satisfied, even though that you provided what was asked by them, then try your best to provide more clarification or more resources to show in the next application that yes, you're financially, very stable. You can come here and you can finance your project. So the first step along the access to information will be a reconsideration request. A reconsideration request is an informal process. It's not a process that is written anywhere. So you need to communicate with Immigration Canada. You need to write a letter, a reconsideration request letter, stating, I am an international student. I have been admitted into program ABC at the University of Ottawa. I'm a very, a genuine student. I have been always successful. I received a refusal from your officer in the visa office in Cairo, for example, and the motivation was because they think I'm not financially stable. I don't have enough money to come and study. However, I have submitted documentation like to prove that in the package that I have sent, and I think the officer made an error or did not fully appreciate my documentation. I request a reconsideration. So I request a reconsideration should be there, like clear affirmative request. It's not like, please don't complain, don't call to emotion, nobody cares, okay? So just to be clear here, like you have to go to the facts. So this is what I did, this is what you asked me for, and I think I comply, and this reason, anyway, this reason is not valid in my opinion, please reconsider it. So what happens? So when you send the request for reconsideration, Immigration Canada will forward that either to the program manager or the department that is responsible or the section responsible to see reconsideration. And the program manager will see if the officer followed the protocol. So, I mean, officers are human beings, so they have their own appreciation, but they need to follow protocols. So they see if the protocol was followed, and if the program manager thinks that with the documentation that you provided, the officer came to the right conclusion, then they will just say, sorry, we maintain the refusal. Or if they think with your explanation in your consideration letter that your rights or the process was not fully followed, then they will give that, reopen the application, give it to another officer to reassess. So the other officer will not necessarily accept. The other officer will reassess with their own eyes the same application. So you cannot introduce new elements to a reconsideration request. So the new officer will reassess and they will come to the conclusion, yes, I approve it, or no. Or maybe they will say, you know what, I need more clarification. Can you submit this before I accept it? So you're kind of like trying to open, a decision, reopen a decision that was made. It's hard. The success rate, this is what I have seen, is about 50%. Like, it depends on how clear you are and how initially the application was done. Sometimes if you come to us and we just see that you really don't deserve reconsideration, if I can say this, I will just say, don't waste your time, But if I think that the officer maybe was a little bit, by the book and didn't give you a chance, then reconsideration will be like a gray area. Like, you can play there and you can just ask like for human, second look at it. Okay. So again, this is an informal process. There is no guarantee of success. It's better than nothing. It costs you half an hour from your life. Do it. Ask us like to revise your letter if you want, if we have the time. We'll tell you if it's clearly, structured and if it's to the point. So now what I will do, I will share my screen. I'll show you how to do it. So I will just do this with you guys. So I just need to find one window here that I can share with you. All right. Yeah. Okay. So what we have here is a window, like just Google. And here are the keywords I want you to do. So type IRCC Web form. So the web form from Immigration Canada is a form online that you can use to communicate with the department, with the immigration department. And basically, this is how we use to file anything, including reconsideration request. So when you come here, okay, the first notice is about COVID. So what I'm presenting to you will be valid for any time, like regular times or like urgent times like this, like COVID. But there is two things that you can do through the web form. Either you give them a feedback, which is like a complaint or a compliment, or you can also just communicate about a specific case. So you click here on Tell Us More. And then they ask you, have you submitted an application already? Is it for PR, student, visitor, worker? So you say yes, because you applied for a study permit. Now, is this application being processed by an office outside of Canada? So in my specific example, I'm going to pretend that I am an Egyptian, international student from Egypt, living in Egypt, and I have been refused my study permit application. So I will say, yes, my application was done by Cairo. If you have done your application inside of Canada, then you say no. And also, if your application has been impacted by COVID-19, also you say no. For example, somebody submitted an application outside from Paris visa office, but the visa office was closed for 3 months due to COVID. It has been delayed now for 6-8 months. then COVID had an impact on your application. In that case, you will say no, even though it is an outside of Canada. But in this specific case, I just want to show you like a regular reconsideration request. I will say, yes, my application has been processed outside of Canada. So here we have to select the visa office. So it's divided by regions, and my country is Egypt. And from this step on, what I want you to do is, before moving to the next step in the forms, you just print the page. So you right click and you print, okay? So why you do this? Because at the end of this process, you will have zero confirmation of what you have submitted. At the end of this process, if 1 week or 2 weeks later, you are doing a follow-up and the customer support person at Immigration Canada is telling you, look, we have nothing about this application, you can at least have some printout showing them that, yes, you have submitted a reconsideration request and it was done on that day, and here's the printout of it. So again, every step, every form that you fill on this process of reconsideration, print it either in paper or print it as a PDF, but make sure the printout is clear. Okay, so we go to the next page, go to the web form. So the web form is immediately linking to Cairo because I have identified my visa office. So what happens at the end of this request, it's gonna be linked to Cairo visa office. Now you can read through this. Now more details about what I'm inquiring about. So it is about student application. Here you have a box where you have to give an explanation of why do you want, what do you want. So I would put a summary here just to fill the box, but also I want you to write a letter, write a Word document letter clarifying your situation. I'll come to the content of the letter in a short time. So here I will say right, if you are writing to, talking to a person in front of you, to an officer. I am an international student, you know, at the University of Ottawa. I applied for a study permit, and then you put between bracket the study permit number, application number. You will have that number in your submission confirmation. It starts usually with an S. For work permit, it starts with a W. So you look for that S number, and it's an S number with a series of numbers, something like that. And then my study permit application was refused. I request a reconsideration of the refusal. So your request is clear. I am an international student. I applied for a study permit number ABC, and then it was refused, and I request a reconsideration of the refusal. And then at the end, you will say see attached explanation, attached letter. Yeah, that's it. So we fill the box. This is a summary of what you want, and I will talk about the letter. So here you fill the your name. So I have, my name is Jean, Claudio. So all of this information is fake, obviously. And so you put your email, make sure your email address is correct. It's there, even though it's not requested. 99% of the communication is going to be through emails. And then you put the date of birth. So we'll fill the identifiers. I'm from Egypt. Client ID is your client identification number, so unique client identifier. So it starts now by the numbers 1-1. You will also find it in the submission confirmation. It's a unique number. This is a number that you will have for all the interaction that you will have with the Immigration Canada for your life. Look out for this number. All the clients, they have a client ID number that only have 8 digits, but right now it's a 10-digit number. The application number is very important. So we said it's an S number for a study permit. So just here to be coherent, we'll put the same number. And then phone number if you want. They will not call you, but anyway, if you're available, you can just put it there. Now, who's making the inquiry? Yourself. So you will say the applicant. If you delegate to somebody else, you need to give them consent. But in this specific scenario, I am doing the request on my own. So you read the disclaimer here, consent, you agree to it. And then before moving to the next step, you print it. You print it as paper document or you print it as a PDF. And please, when you print as a PDF, open the PDF document, make sure it makes sense, because in this computer, when I print as a PDF, it's all in Chinese, letters. I don't know, there is a corruption, but make sure whatever you print, it's really correctly printed, okay? And then we quickly recheck before we submit. Student, summary, my information is there. Okay, it's re-entered, perfect. Next. Now, in this application, they are asking me if I'd like to include more documents. I will say yes. So what I suggest is the following: include a copy of your passport to show that you are who you are, and also include a copy of the refusal letter, and also include your Word document, your letter itself, the reconsideration request. So the reconsideration request, what I want you to do is name it reconsideration request. So it's really on the top of the letter, reconsideration request. You put the date, dear immigration officer, or dear program manager, dear IRCC officer. I request a reconsideration of the refusal that I received on the date, blah, 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 about the application ABCD. So S 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I received the refusal based on the reasons A, B, C. I believe these reasons are not valid, and these are the facts. So you state the facts before giving your opinion. So the reason we said in this example, it was financials. So the facts is you requested me to upload a letter of support, bank statement, employment letter from my dad. I have provided all of these documents. My studies cost $25,000. I have uploaded statement of a bank statement that shows a balance of $50,000. I believe that the officer did not appreciate the letters that I submitted, or maybe did not see it, or for whatever other reason. I'm not sure that the motivation of this refusal is linked to the financial situation. So obviously your argument should be base fact. So the facts are there. This is what I did. This is what you requested. Then you say, then you can bring your opinion. You say, I believe that I should be given a fair process. So there is a fairness in the administration generally in Canada, which is we cannot judge you, or we cannot ask you to provide things and then decide that your application is refused on other things that we never requested from you. So let's say that the officer needed more details, but you submitted exactly what was needed in a typical application. They should come to you. they should ask you for to upload more documentation. And I have seen this done by a lot of officers. They will send in a note to the client, to the student saying, I need an update on this letter, or I need this. And they really are doing really a lot of efforts, you know, just to make sure that they have a clear idea about your situation. And they will give you time. Usually they will give you 1 week or sometimes 10 days to provide additional information. And based on that additional information, they will take a decision. But sometimes some officers, they are just quick on a decision because they have a lot of work or whatever the reason. I have no idea why. They don't give you that chance. So for the fairness of the process, if you submit exactly what the department is asking for you, but the officer needs more information and they have the right to ask for whatever they want to take a decision. And if they need more information, they should come to you. But if they reach a decision without reaching out to you first, you lose that opportunity, right, to give them more clarity about your eligibility for that study permit. So that's what you can say. You say, look, I never received a phone call. I never received any notification through the portal. I never received an email. And I was not allowed the opportunity to clarify whatever was unclear to the officer, even though I think it was clear from the beginning. So don't make it very long, like a 1 page, 2 page maximum, clear. You know, make it in paragraphs. Every paragraph have you know, an idea, not multiple ideas, you know, in one paragraph, and you upload that here. So 3 documents: passport, refusal letter, and your letter, reconsideration letter request. Also, if you have any support letter from anybody that you think has value to that, you can add it. But again, a reconsideration request is not a place to introduce new element. It's a place where you say, my application from the beginning was okay. The appreciation or the refusal does not make sense. I'll tell you, for example, a very, you know, clear situation where you can contest a refusal. I have seen a client being refused entry to Canada because the officer said in their refusal letter, your prior stay in Canada, you overstayed, something like that. That client never been to Canada. So it's obviously an error. So overcoming this type of refusal is very easy. You will just say, I think the officer just made a mistake and I never been to Canada, so they cannot refuse me of me overstaying in Canada because the last time I was in Canada, I overstayed. I never been to Canada. So please correct that. So I'm just giving you some few examples that it's really, it makes more sense to do a reconsideration rather than you spending more money and the department again studying again your application, so creating a backlog on them. So once all of the documents are uploaded, again, print it, so it will show that the documents are uploaded. Print this page, and then you submit. This is the second last step. So here, confirmation of the email address. Very important, read it well. If the email address is wrong, the communication will be lost, okay, will be sent to the wrong address. And the date of birth, and you print this screen as well, and then you click next. Congratulations, success. You need to see this, success, and please don't delay. Yeah? So this process, when the website is busy, if you stay a lot, they will kick you out. So every step needs to be done like within a quick timing. Print this screen as well, the success screen, and you keep everything in your archives. A few days later, you will receive an email from a triage officer from the department saying, we received your request. I'm going to stop screen sharing. So a few days later, you will receive a letter from the triage officer. They will say, we received your request, and I have forwarded that to the appropriate department. Give them roughly 2 weeks. So 10 business days, 14 days, calendar days. If you don't receive anything within 2 weeks, then you should follow up on that. Do another request, but this time is not a reconsideration, you call it follow-up. And then you upload all of these screenshots. You say, I have requested a reconsideration. I'm still waiting for a decision. Now, I have seen reconsideration resolved in 1 day. That was exceptional. It was a lifetime thing. I never seen it again. So it was in Ankara visa office. It was super quick, 1 day. And that was a mistake, obviously. Like, so the program manager was really, really keen to resolve the issue. But typically, I will say 2 weeks to 4 months will be the average, 2 weeks to 4 months. And this is before COVID. So right now, I don't know how long it takes, but don't expect a quick resolution to this situation. Again, this is informal. This is, free of charge. And this is a kind of step where you don't want to start again, right? You want to resolve this at the lowest level for you and the lowest level for them. So you have done the access to information request, you have done a reconsideration, good job. All of this, you can do it quickly, like within the few first days of the refusal. What you should delay a little bit is a new application for a study permit. So the ATIP request, access to information request, will take roughly usually 4 weeks to 6 weeks. If they need more time, they will ask you for more time. But the ATIP requests, you should receive, the details of the notes of the officer within a month, and then you will know exactly why the refusal was there. Reconsideration, as I told you, it could be 2 weeks, it could be 4 months. If it is resolved at the level of reconsideration, then you don't need a new application for a study permit. They will reopen the application, and then they will continue the process, and they will issue a new study permit. If the reconsideration is negative, like they will just maintain the decision as refused, or it is delayed, but you are in rush and you want to start again, at least you have the ATIP request. You can make an application, a new study permit application. And again, everything you do with Immigration Canada will stay there forever. I mean, forever, at least 10 years. So a new application, even though it should be studied on its own merit, the officers still have access to the other application, and you really need to overcome the reasons. So if the first officer said your financial documents are not good, don't submit the same document. Submit these documents and add more, because the other officer will come to the same conclusion. They still have the same protocol. They have the same training. If you keep submitting the same thing, you will keep receiving the refusals after refusals. But again, about refusal, remember, like after 3 applications, after 3 refusals, you should stop. So what you want to do, if your documentation is not perfect, wait until you have a perfect application, or like until you have more support letters or more document that will make your application more solid. After 3 refusals, I will say something in your life needs to change. Either go study somewhere else, get more education, or work for more extra year. So with the same profile, basically, you will still have the same refusal. Again, I'm not going to get into the details of refusal here, refusal there. This, we can have it in the drop-in sessions, but it could be your link to your country, your job prospect in your country, why you're coming to Canada specifically, your prior, refusals, like you have done a visa to the United States and it was refused. So there's multiple factors why you can have refusal, and we can have a discussion about this either in a drop-in session or in an individual session, like a meeting with you. So to summarize, when you get a refusal, 3 steps. First, it's going to be a reconsideration request, the steps that I just covered here. And the second, at the same time, simultaneously, an access to information request as well. And the third one would be a new application, but with more knowledge. Why? Like with the information that you obtain through access to information, why the officer refused you, and also you will put additional documentation. So that's it for this presentation. Again, there will be a video specifically about how to do an ATIP, access to information request. And make sure that that you request a meeting with us if you feel that your letter is not clear enough, or you want uh, like just our you know, opinion, if it is okay, or if there is more information we could put there. Again, this video is like for information. It's not, it's not legal advice in any way. A reconsideration, as I said, it's an informal process. So, but it resolves some issues. Like I would say, it's really worth the effort for me anyway. Uh, so I'll let you on this. I'll stop the recording, and you can also watch the other videos that we have in the International Office page, YouTube page. So I'll stop the recording right